All right, hey guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome back. And if you are just joining us for the first time, I'm excited to have you here. So here's how it works. We've got 30 minutes. We are going to cover, today we're going to talk about Facebook ad copy, which I know sounds super exciting, but I promise it's going to help make creating and setting up your ads a lot easier. So last week we talked about creating an opt-in offer that converts on Facebook, and I got some questions about writing the copy for your ad, so it kind of made sense to cover that this week. So what I'm going to do, what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to walk you through my process, how I create my ad copy. I used to spend way too much time just staring at a screen trying to figure out what I was going to say, and I type something in and then delete it. That sounds stupid. And then I try something else, and that sounds stupid too. So finally, after a lot of trial and error, I just figured out a quick, easy process. So I save time and it actually works. So I'm not wasting a lot of time trying to come up with the ideas for what I'm going to say for my ads. So we'll walk you through that. Of course, I've got some examples of ads that I'm using that are working. So I'll show you those so you can actually see them in action, what's working for me. And we're going to talk a little bit about headlines, since that's related to copy. So I'm going to share some headlines that are fill in the blank that you can take. You can use these for your free offer, for your ad copy, for your emails that you're sending out, whatever. But hopefully it will help inspire you if you're having one of those days when you're just kind of stuck and your brain's not working, but you need to create some copy. So let's go ahead, let's just dive in. Like I said, this is probably everyone's least favorite part of writing ads, unless you are a writer and a copywriter and that's just something you really enjoy. But for the most part, when I talk to people, we get the ad set up, we've got our cool images, and we've got our links, conversion pixels, all that stuff, and now we've got to decide what to say. And then it's like, ugh, what am I going to say now? I've got to come up with something clever and witty, and I've got to make people click on my ad. So it gets to be, it can be frustrating, one, because it's time consuming, especially if you're having one of those days when your brain's just not working. I know I have those all the time where it's just like, can I form a sentence today, please? That would be awesome, thank you. Or if you've tried writing copy and maybe your ads aren't working and you feel like it's because your headline and your copy isn't reaching your audience, that can be frustrating. So I'm going to walk you through how I do it. And hopefully there's some tips in here that you can take and use and incorporate it into your own process. So a few things that I want you to remember just as we're getting started. These are just kind of quick notes. You only have a few seconds to get your point across. Writing copy for Facebook ads is a lot different than writing copy for a sales page or copy in your emails, because we have such a short time and we've got a little teeny tiny space to get our point across. So we've got to accomplish a lot with just a little bit of room. So we've got to get their attention, we've got to tell them what we're going to give them, and we've got to make them click. So if we don't do that, we're wasting money on our ads, and our ads aren't going to convert, they're not going to convert, and they're not going to work. So keep that in mind, keep it short and simple. You want to keep your copy above the fold. So this is something I see sometimes when I'm scrolling through ads, and this is what I mean by above the fold if you haven't heard that term before. So this is a longer ad, and where it says see more, and you have to click that to read on, you want to keep the important stuff, the really good juicy parts that are going to grab people's attention, you want to keep that above the fold. So if you catch their attention there, they'll click to see more and read on. If you don't catch their attention at the top and you've got all your good juicy information at the bottom, no one's going to care. They're just going to keep scrolling past your ad. So that's just one quick note. Like I said, I see this sometimes when I'm scrolling through Facebook and some ads pop up in my news feed. So if you're creating ads that are a little bit longer in text, just make sure the really good stuff, the juicy part, is above the fold. Okay, so those are my quick notes for today. So the first part of writing good ad copy, and I think this goes for writing just good copy in general. I'll be honest, writing copy is something that I have to work really hard at. I think it's a skill. I think it's something that you get better the more you do it, the more you practice. So once you've got a couple good ad campaigns under your belt and you see what's working and you see what people are responding to, it gets a lot easier. So if you're in those beginning stages and you're just kind of testing things out and nothing's really caught on, that's okay. Sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes you've got to test a few ideas to see what people respond to. But let me tell you, once you hit on a couple headlines that work, it's awesome. It's easy breezy from that point on. And you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about, because there's one thing, and I didn't really realize how much I use it in my ads until I was going back through and pulling together the content for this webinar, and I started to laugh because I use it in a couple different ads, and I knew I was using it, but I actually use it a lot more than I thought. Because here's the thing, if it's working, just go with it. You know, if your ads are working, if you're connecting with the right people and you're getting the right people to your list, you're good to go. You're golden. So this is what I usually do, especially if I'm stuck, if I'm having a hard time, the ideas just aren't flowing. I'll just pull up an empty notepad on my computer or Word or whatever, if you want to write it down, whatever works for you. But I think the trick is you just got to get these ideas out of your head. So just start brainstorming and just start writing down anything and everything that comes to mind. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence. It doesn't matter. Because what happens when we're sitting there and we're trying to write, especially copy, we're sitting there and it's like, okay, well, should I say this? And it's like, no, that sucks. You can't say that. Or, okay, well, so what if I say this? No, that's not really that good either. You don't even get a chance to get it out. So it might suck in your head, but if you can get it out onto paper, you might be able to take that and turn it into something that really, really works. But the secret is just getting it out and just getting those ideas flowing and just start to trigger those creative juices, get those flowing. So when you're brainstorming, think of a couple things. You know, what problem are you going to solve? What are you promoting? Is it, you know, a webinar that's going to help people be more productive or to sell more? You know, how are you going to help people? What is your audience struggling with? If you can start to write down the emotions that people are dealing with, or the things that they're going through because of this problem that you help solve, that's a great place to start. And how are you going to help them? You know, because that's a big part of it too. How are you going to help them? How are they going to feel after they go through this training program or they watch this webinar? Or how is this webinar going to help them? Or how is this PDF going to, you know, save them time? Let them know. So these are just, you know, like I said, this is a starting point, but just start writing it down. You know, you don't have to do this for too long, maybe 10 minutes. If you really get on a roll, that's awesome, because I'm telling you, when you get on a roll and things are just flowing, you just need to go with it, right? But you can use these not just for your ad copy, but you can start to incorporate into your sales copy or your email copy. So it goes beyond just creating your ads. All right, so now let's start talking about the pieces of creating good ad copy. So I've got 6 things I'm going to go through with you. Not every ad will include all 6 of these, and you'll see as we go through what I mean by it, but these are just, you know, when I'm trying to create really good ad copy, these are the things I look for. These are the things that I'm thinking about when I'm creating that copy. The first thing, don't try to be clever, just be clear. You know, we all think we're funny. I think I'm hilarious, but sometimes I'm the only person laughing at my jokes, right? So not everyone is going, if you're trying to be clever and you're trying to be funny, those jokes might just go over their head, right? They may not get what you're trying to say. It may not make sense to them. So it's a really hard thing to pull off. There are very few brands and very few people that can pull off this type of writing. And so I know I'm not one of those people, right? So I just stick with being clear, and I can tell you it works. You know, 99% of the time, being clear is going to work better than being clever. So even though you're trying to be witty and funny, and you know, you've got this clever, cute title, if it's not connecting with your audience, it doesn't matter. So just skip through all of that and really focus on just being clear. Keep it simple and keep it clear. So I try to think of it this way: when I'm scrolling through Facebook, you've got a lot of competition in the newsfeed, right? You're not just competing with other free offers or trainings or blog posts, but you're also competing with people with pictures of their parties, of their babies, of the wedding they went to last weekend, funny cat pictures. I mean, if there's a funny cat picture, I'm going to click on it, right? So you've got a lot of competition in the news feed, right? So think about it this way. When you're scrolling through the feed, this one of the questions that always pops to my mind is like, is it worth it? Is it worth my time for me to click on this? Because I can see right below this ad there's a really funny cat video that I want to watch. So, you know, should I take the 5 minutes to click on this ad and see what it is, or should I just go watch the cat video? You've got to catch their attention. What are they going to get if they click your ad? You need to be really clear, let them know exactly what they're going to get. People don't like to be tricked, so if you say one thing in your ad and you send them to something else, that's not going to fly, so be really clear, let them know exactly what they're going to get. And really the main question is, you know, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this if I click on this ad? You're going to get my email. I know that. I'm going to go on your email list, but what am I going to get from it? Are you going to help me solve a problem? Are you going to save me time doing something? Are you going to make me laugh? You know, what am I going to get out of this? You need to be really clear about that, what they're going to get out of it, and why it's important that they take the time to check out whatever it is that you're promoting. So don't be clever, just be clear. Another effective tool is just call out your audience. So this works really well, especially if you've ran some ads and you're not getting the people you want to your list. You're getting people on your list, but you're noticing they're not necessarily your ideal clients. So there's a disconnect there. So one of the most effective ways to do it is just say exactly who they are. Who do you want to work with, or who is this meant for? And one of the easiest ways to write ad copy, I think, is to form it in a question. It makes it a lot easier. And when you ask a question, the person that's reading it in their head, they're going to answer that. So, you know, if you say, are you tired of wasting money on Facebook ads that don't work? And I've been sitting there trying to pull ads together, and I just spent $400, and I've got 3 people on my email list, I'm going to say, yep, I'm spending way too much money, and this is getting annoying. So I might click on that. So maybe you work with people that are just getting started with their business. You want to start a business, but you're not sure where to start. That's a good one. If you're a coach and you're trying to help people get up and going with their business, thinking of becoming a life coach, maybe you help train life coaches. Call out exactly who you want to work with, right? So they're more likely to respond to your ad, and you're getting quality people, the people that you want to click on your ads. You're not wasting money attracting people that may or may not be interested in it. So this really goes back to being clear. So be really clear on who this is for, and then let them know, hey, this is for you. So I use the example of tired of wasting money on ads that don't work. So this is a headline that's worked really well for me, and you're going to see this. This is what I was talking about. You're going to see that I use this in a couple other ad examples, so it's pretty funny. But I've used it, and it works, so why would I not use it, right? So this is probably, you guys have seen this ad before. It's the ad that I use to get people signed up for this webinar, and it works really well because the whole point of this webinar is to help people figure out how to use ads more effectively so they can save time, so they can save money, right? So it makes sense. So I'm calling out exactly who this webinar is for. I'm going to let them know exactly what they're getting. They're going to learn how to use Facebook ads. It's 30 minutes each week. Excuse me. That's it. They're done. We're out of here in 30 minutes, right? So that works really, really well. So that's why you don't want to be scared if you find something that works to just keep using it. Step 3, get emotional. So using emotion in your copy, I know you've heard this, but anytime you can use emotion to appeal to people, that's really effective. And one of the reasons is that, if someone's struggling with something, we always tend to feel like we're the only one having that problem and no one understands how we feel. So when you can call out and say, hey, do you feel this way? Because you're not alone, but I've got a free tool or webinar, I've got something that can help you. That appeals to that person because, one, you're addressing how they feel, which is really powerful, and 2, you're telling them, hey, like, this is no big deal. You're not the only person that feels this way, and I'm going to help make you feel a little bit better. I've got something that's going to help solve this problem for you. So think of emotions that you can incorporate into your copy. So are you frustrated and overwhelmed? Those are two really powerful words. I don't know anyone that has never been frustrated or overwhelmed, especially if you're running your own business, because, you know, as a business owner, you run into a lot of things that are frustrating and can be really overwhelming. So, you know, if you're a business coach, or maybe you help people be more productive so they're not overwhelmed, address those emotions. Are you terrified of public speaking? If you help people become public speakers, that's something a lot of people are scared of, and I think terrified is an appropriate word for how most people feel about public speaking. Do you dread quoting your prices to a potential client? You know, if someone isn't comfortable with sales, you know, maybe they love talking to people, but when it comes time to have that conversation, they just get a knot in their stomach. So take a minute, sit and think of how your audience, how they feel in that moment, and try to use those emotions in your ad copy. And you can see I use this as a question too. It works really well to use questions in your ad copy, and you'll notice I do it a lot. Almost all of my ads start out with a question, so it's something that works because I use it a lot. Obviously, your call to action, you've got to have a call to action. A lot of people skip this part because they think it's silly, they think it's redundant, and I cannot say it enough, but you need to have a call to action. You have to tell people exactly what to do. So if you need them to download this free report, if they've got to sign up so they can get on the email list for the webinar, if you want them to like your ad so that they, so that they go to like your page, tell them. I've tested this and tested it, and I don't even run ads anymore, unless I've got a call to action. I wanted to test it out once, just, a couple times just to see, because I was curious, and it really, really does make a difference. So always, always, always add your call to action, even if you think it's obvious, even if you think they know what to do. And don't think that, now that we've got the buttons that you can add to your ad, to download, sign up, shop now, that doesn't count as your call to action. It's important to have that there, but still include your call to action in your actual ad copy, right? So call out your audience or address their emotion, but always add that call to action. It's usually the last thing, the last sentence in all of my ads is sign up here or go here to download. But I'm going to show you some more examples so you'll see what I'm talking about. So so the last thing, it's not the last thing, it's almost the last thing. Keep it simple. Really keep it simple. You don't need to get too wordy. You don't need to, think about this too much and write a big long post. Keep it really, really simple. So ready to create Facebook ads that really work? Grab our 5 best templates here. This is hands down my best performing ad. This is it. Simple. Do you see how simple that is? I start with a question. I told you I use questions a lot. And then I've got my call to action. Grab our 5 best templates here. And that's it. It is simple. It is easy. They know exactly what they're going to get. This is for people that are trying to run ads and they want to run ads that work, that are effective. Maybe they've tried to run ads that didn't work. But it's pretty straightforward and to the point. So the people that are signing up for this are people that are looking for help with Facebook advertising. So I'm getting my ideal clients to my list, and it's just an effective ad. Simple doesn't always mean that it has to be short, though. So this is another effective ad, and you'll see these ads a lot. These ads, the longer version with the bullet points, work really well if you're doing a webinar or a teleseminar, something that's a little bit more involved and you want to list out what you're going to be teaching or sharing. But the important thing is, so this ad is expanded. Half of this ad would get cut off in the news feed. So if someone's looking at this ad in the feed, they're probably only going to see half of this. But I've got, are you ready to rock your sales this holiday season? So I'm calling out people that are looking to use Facebook ads for holidays, because I do work with retail sites. So this one was really geared towards my retail people. So I call them out, and then I break down exactly what they're going to get, and then I've got, if they want to read on, if they're interested, they can click see more and they'll see the rest of the ad. So it's still simple, it's still short, it's longer than the first one, but it's just, bam, a couple quick sentences. Is this for you? Here's what you're going to get. Here's a couple bullet points. If you want to read more, sign up. You're in, you're good, you're golden. So it's still simple, right? But it's short. So you don't need to write these long, crazy posts. Sometimes I see these posts that are just, they go on for days, but keep it short and keep it simple. So the last thing, does it seem a little over the top? If it does, good, you are on the right track. One of the things I see people struggle with a lot when I'm working with them one-on-one is they feel like their ads are over the top, and they're not. So what they'll do is they'll write this copy, feel like it's over the top, and then they'll start to back it down. They'll, so it's not going to stand out as much because they don't want to feel like they're yelling or they're being obnoxious. The thing is, as long as you're not making like crazy, ridiculous claims like make $5,000 in 30 minutes, like that kind of stuff, that's crazy. But address who you're working with or who you want to work with and let them know what they're going to get, and then tell them to get it here. So it might seem a little over the top, but you've got to get their attention, right? So this usually really applies when people start trying to use emotion in their ads, like saying, are you terrified of public speaking, or do you dread, doing this? People start to feel like that's a little over the top. But if that's how people feel, then that's what you need to say. So don't be scared if you feel like it's a little over the top, right? It'll work most of the time. So here are two other ads that have worked really well. You'll notice both start with a question, and the first one's tired of wasting money on ads that don't work. So that's probably, you've seen this before, right? I've used this before. I use it a lot because it works. So grab our Kickstart kit and 5 best converting ad templates. Bam, you know exactly what you're going to get. Download it. There you go. So it works really well. I tend to use, for my ads, for my business, I usually go with the short 2-sentence kind of things. That just seems to be what works the best for me. But I have used some longer, with the bullet points, the longer ads, and those work well too. My style tends to go more towards this. So one doesn't necessarily work better than the other. So if you like introducing your offer and then having some bullet points and then sign up, that's fine too, as long as that's working and it's converting. The next one was for a free training I did a while back. It's ready to take your page from zero to raving. This free video training will show you how. It's pretty simple. Right? And I actually really don't even have a call to action here, so that's my bad, but this ad still worked. Mostly because people get stuck. They've got these pages that are just sitting there, and they can't figure out how to get them going and build the momentum. So I think that was what made this ad work, right? But these are two examples that worked. Almost all of my ads start with a question. I think it's really effective. I think it works really well. And sometimes, I'm usually using the tired of wasting money on ads that don't work. That just seems to work really well. So I'm not going to go and start my ads brand new or try different copy if I've already got copy that's working. Now, once this stops working, then I'll start testing out some different headlines. So that's what I mean. When you've got something that works, just keep using it, because if it's working and you're attracting the right people, then you're on the right track. So let's talk a little bit about headlines. So this was one of the other questions that I got last week, was how to write really effective headlines. And these are, I pulled some positive headlines, negative headlines, and social proof headlines. So positive headlines. And these are really just fill in the blank. But if you need some help or if you're trying to brainstorm ideas, I think this is a great place to start. So imagine if you could run a marathon and love it, right? Think of ways that you're helping people, and you would just take the problem you solve and fill in the blank here. Easy breezy. I actually have this as a PDF that I'm going to send out to you guys that has more examples of this. This is just kind of a sample, but you can take and use and fill in the blank. So get started with blank in only 30 days. That's always a good one, because people, getting started is usually the hardest part. And if you can tell them, hey, you get started with this in 7 days, they might be down for that. Here's a simple way to whatever problem you solve. If you can solve one of my problems and it's simple and it's easy, I will love you forever. So that's a good one. Negative headlines. Negative headlines work because no one wants to be the loser doing things the wrong way, and no one wants to be the person that's missing out on what the cool kids are doing. If everyone else is doing it this way, we want to make sure we're doing it the right way too. So negative headlines work because they call us out in that, like the worst way to do this. Well, you don't want to be doing it the worst way. You want to do it the best way. Why you shouldn't waste another minute, doing whatever, or why you should never do this. So if you're telling me I should never do that, it's like, oh, well, why should I never do that? And what do I need to be doing instead? And why you shouldn't do this if you want this. That's a really powerful headline too. So think of ways that you could start to incorporate these into some of your ad copy. Last one, social proof. These are really effective, especially if you've got a lot of case studies, or if you've helped a lot of people, or if you're an expert or professional, and obviously most of you guys are experts in your field. So this is great because it's basically saying, hey, this worked for all these other people and it can work for you too. Or, hey, this is how the big guys are doing it, this is how the professionals are doing it, and you can do it just like they do. So this is also another really great way to start writing your headlines. Like I said, you can use these headlines for subject lines for your email list. You can use it for your free offer, for your ads. There's a lot of ways you can use this. It's really just to kind of help you get those ideas going and get a good, strong headline that you can start to test out. So let's see what we've got here. How to do this like a professional does. Everyone wants to know how the professionals do it. How are the big guys doing it? So if you can tell me how they're doing it, I might sign up for that. How thousands of people got this result in only 30 days. That's powerful because all these other people did it. I can do it too. So those are just some examples of social proof headlines. Like I said, I will send this out to you guys. I've got it in a PDF. It's got all of these examples plus some extra ones that you can take, drop them in your swipe file if you want, if you need them, if you're stuck, you're trying to come up with a headline, and you need a little extra help, you'll have it, so you can use it. So keep an eye on your inbox. I'll send that out to you. So that's it for this week, Facebook ad copy. So hopefully that helped you. You've got some ideas. You can go back, work on your ads, make the whole process a little bit easier. If you have other questions, or if you want some one-on-one help with your ads, I'd love to set up some time to talk with you. We can get on the phone, chat, learn a little bit more about you, your business, your goals, what you really want your Facebook ads to be doing, and how we can make that happen so that your ads are really, really working for you and your business, so that you can reach those goals. So if that's something you're interested in, you can just send me an email, hello@socialabmarketing. We'll get some time set up. Be easy breezy. If not, that's cool. We will be here next week. We'll cover a different topic. We're going to start to dive into, we'll go back more to the strategy and the technical part of Facebook ads. We've kind of taken a break from that the last 2 weeks. So keep an eye on your inbox for the PDF, and the next week I will be sure I'll send out an email with our topic for next week and all of the login info. So that's it for this week. I will see you guys next Tuesday. And I hope you have a great week, and I hope your ads are totally rocking and kicking ass this week. And so I will see you next Tuesday.